I tug on my brunette wig in the car. It's a cheapie from Amazon, but it does the job thanks to the bangs and front lacing. I add sunglasses for good measure and then walk to Starbucks, keeping my head down in case of cameras. I'm also wearing more makeup than usual. It's amazing how contouring can change your face. I scout the diners while I'm in the queue. The man with the laptop is a non-starter. The police are more likely to be called if expensive gadgets are involved. I'm torn between a bookish girl reading a trashy paperback and a stylish blonde leaning over study notes. I've decided on the bookworm by the time the barista takes my order. On my way out, I take a few steps towards the bookworm, but change my mind and dump my iced latte over the blonde girl's head instead. I'm almost out the door before she has a chance to react. "Are you crazy?" a man calls after me. "No, I'm just not a good person," I reply without looking back. I pull the Starbucks trick at least twice a month, but at different establishments in different towns. I guess I should introduce myself. I'm Cam. Not my real name, of course, and this isn't my real voice. I decided to tell my story after my brother shared his experience. He also used a voice actor. It would damage or end my career if I told you who I am and where I live. If you work it out, please keep my identity to yourself. Murderers could walk free if you don't. You see, I have a gift that makes me the best detective my force has ever seen. I'm not a bad person because I am, but because I must be. It all started when I was 16. I hadn't yet got my driver's license, so I asked my brother Aiden to take me to a place called Bella's Pumpkins. I needed high-quality pumpkins for a Halloween-themed school art project. We both took our best friends along, Corey and Gabriella. When we got to the pumpkin field, Aiden and Corey started acting strangely. They seemed creeped out, on edge and skittish. When we were paying for the pumpkins, the owner of the farm said something cryptic about magic punishing bad people. I didn't pay it much mind, but my brother told me afterwards that he had undergone a change after setting foot on the pumpkin farm. He said that through his eyes, the world around him was now ugly and deteriorating, as were the people. The bad ones, anyway. It drove Corey insane. Aid was able to lessen the symptoms over time by becoming a better person. His vision is almost back to normal now. For the first 6 years, I didn't experience the curse myself. This changed after I slept with a close friend's fiancé. Needless to say, we're not friends anymore. I didn't mean for it to happen. We were both drunk. The next morning, my food looked rotten. It was embarrassing because I vehemently complained to the hotel about a perfectly normal breakfast. They thought I was mad, but replaced it anyway. The second breakfast was also gross, but my friend's fiancé said it looked fine to him, and I started to realize what had happened. The magic from the farm infected me the same way it did my brother, but mine had been dormant until now. The breakfast tasted delicious, confirming my theory. Buildings appeared to be dilapidated and crumbling. They still do, but you get used to it. Half the time when I look in the mirror, my face is moldy, peeling, or covered in warts. Sometimes a combination of the three. I know from AIDS experiences that these disfigurations aren't real and other people can't see them. So it's never bothered me, and there are more important things than physical appearance anyway, but applying makeup over non-existent blemishes was definitely a learning curve. I see the disfigurations on other people too. The ex that repeatedly cheated on me looked hideous when I saw him at the supermarket. So did the classmate rumored to con pensioners out of their savings. But people like my mom and Aid's girlfriend Maddie have never looked anything other than their beautiful selves. If anything, they looked better than before. I apologized to my friend over and over again for breaking up her engagement. I felt genuine guilt, so the curse had somewhat faded a few months later when Maddie's granddad was murdered. It was made to look like suicide, but upon examining the wounds, the coroner found they couldn't have been self-inflicted. Maddie's uncle had maggots squirming and raw, bloody holes in his face when I saw him at the funeral. I knew he did it. The police wouldn't have believed me about my curse, so I told them I overheard him talking on the phone at the wake. I claimed he was begging the person at the other end for more time because he would be getting inheritance soon. My testimony wasn't worth much because it was a case of he said, she said, but it encouraged the police to dig deeper. It turned out his alibi was fake. He did commit the crime for inheritance, but I have no idea if he was really in debt. I knew 2 things after that. 1, I had to drop out of art college to join the police, and 2, I could not lose the curse. I pull the Starbucks trick because although it's mean, the chances of it causing permanent or lasting harm are low, unlike cruel words and physical injuries. Keying cars is another favorite. I aim to inconvenience rather than damage my fellow man. I was worried the curse would fade away because I try to be considerate of others even when plotting against them, but I started to enjoy ruining people's days and wrecking slaved-over hairdos. Basically, I like being a bitch, and it makes me excellent at my job. I'm the youngest ever officer to join the murder investigation team at my precinct. I helped solve a lot of serious crimes when I was still in uniform. I can see which of the suspects are evil, so I know where to dig. Ade shared his story about Bella's pumpkins to warn others. I'm doing it more for entertainment purposes. The pumpkin farm really is called Bella's Pumpkins, but I'm not revealing the country where it's based to keep my identity private. It's possible you'll discover its location in the comments, but we no longer live locally. I ask again that if you work out who we are, you don't share our names or personal information. I'm not that worried about being outed, to be honest, because Ade's story was largely dismissed as creepypasta. This goes without saying, but if you know the location of Bella's Pumpkins, do not go there. Anyway, without further ado, here is story 1. It's a simplified version of the police investigation for brevity. I'll also change names and some of the details for privacy. I don't want to give away the identities of victims and their families. We were called to a house in the rough end of town. Most of the people living here are honest and hardworking citizens, but there's no shortage of criminals. Most petty, but some hardcore. My brother's friend Corey lives somewhere around here. It's where the housing association placed him after his treatment ended at the mental health facility. I keep meaning to visit him and find out how he is. It might help him to talk to someone else with the curse, but it's difficult to find time with work. I hold back tears as I study the victim. I'm used to seeing murder victims after 6 years in this job, but it's tough when it's someone so young. He can't be more than 5 or 6. A few of the newer forensic officers are crying. The bruising to his neck suggests strangulation, but Freddie will have to do a full autopsy before we're certain. The parents say they went to the pub and found him like this when they returned. The front door was forced open. My partner Tyler is talking to the mother. The father is passed out drunk. I make a mental note to find out if social services were aware of these obviously negligent parents. Their faces are crawling with mold in a way consistent with what I've come to recognize as a mildly bad person. Someone that's made poor choices because of their own suffering, but isn't evil or responsible for serious harm to another. These parents didn't kill their son.
Does anyone else live here?
Tyler asks. My eldest from a previous relationship, but she's been with friends all day, the mother answers.
Is she here now?
No, she's not back yet. What am I going to tell her? The woman crumbles with grief. She might not have been the most responsible parent, but she doesn't deserve this. Tyler asks if she can think of anybody that might have done this. Anyone with a grudge against the family? This is always the first stage of our investigations. Once we compile a thorough list of suspects, we visit them one by one so I can see their faces for myself. It's unusual not to have uniform or lower-ranking, plain-clothed officers talk to the less likely suspects, those only loosely linked to the victim, but my superior entertains my whims because my results speak for themselves. To say I'm shocked when we meet nobody that I believe to be the killer is an understatement. This has never happened before. We question the parents again, but they insist they can't think of anyone else. I believe them because the first list was exhaustive. Tyler asks for their friends, family, former coworkers, healthcare providers, anyone associated with them. I've never told him about my curse, but I think he has some idea of what's going on. We've worked together for 5 years. He knows my methods and how to help me get results. In case you're wondering, he's just my work partner. The Chloe to my Lucifer. Although that's probably not the best example to use when trying to convince you there's no romantic spark between us. The Hudson to my Rex. That's better. Although I don't know how I feel about being the dog. We're at a loss when our forensic pathologist Freddie calls. The cause of death was suffocation as a result of strangulation, he tells us. There are signs of long-term physical abuse, but thankfully nothing sexual. From the shape of the bruising to the neck, I believe the killer was female or a male under 18. The hands appear smaller than that of the average adult male. I have a hunch the killer is under 16, but maybe I'm wrong. There's no fingerprints or DNA evidence. I'm sorry.
Thank you, Freddie,
Tyler says before hanging up. I suggest, let's look at the school students, lower and upper schools. Tyler replies,
I had a thought. The friends that were with the sister at the time of death have prior. One for drugs and the other for assault.
Could the alibi they've provided be false? I shake my head. The sister had no disfigurations whatsoever. It's not possible she committed an act so cruel. Let's speak to her again. Maybe she knows something she's not telling us, I say. I'm not expecting this to be the case, but I don't want Tyler to think I don't value his input, and he thinks it's worth considering her again. The sister is as grief-stricken as you'd expect for someone that's just lost her brother. She still has no disfigurations. It's not her, I whisper to Tyler when she goes to make us coffee. I follow her to the kitchen. Let me help you, I say, taking 2 of the mugs from the counter. I get a breakthrough when we're returning to the living room. There's a mirror on the wall. I catch her reflection when she walks past, and it's crawling with green mold and bloody warts. I know you're not a bad person, I tell her gently when we're seated. Was it an accident? She trembles, reluctant to speak. We know it was you. My colleague is processing the DNA evidence as we speak. She doesn't need to know Freddie found no DNA from the killer. She starts crying, like a river breaking its banks. Was it an accident? I ask again when she's calmer. She shakes her head. He was going to hurt him, she sobs. Who? My uncle. He's been letting his friends hurt me for years. He was going to take my brother to his friends too. He said if I told my parents he'd track us down and kill us, so I did the only other thing I could to protect him. I can see the self-hatred in her eyes. I think I know why the curse was only visible in the mirror. She sees herself as an evil person, and she has committed an awful crime, so my visions manifest there. But not in real life, where she's an abused and brainwashed girl who believed she was saving her brother from unspeakable cruelty. However misguided, her intentions were good. We take her to the station to make an official statement. She'll almost certainly be sent to juvie and possibly adult prison after that. But I hope the judge will be understanding of all she's suffered. The parents claim they neglected to mention the uncle because they didn't think him relevant to the investigation, despite us asking for all family members. I don't know if they were protecting him or if they just trusted him implicitly. I suspect the latter because their eyes and tone of voice seem warmer when they talk about him until they remember what he's done. He's an uncle by marriage, a marriage that ended in divorce years ago, so he wasn't on our radar as somebody still in the picture when we conducted our own research into the family. He's been arrested. The sister is pressing charges against him, and 2 other victims have already come forward. We've identified and arrested 3 of the 4 other men involved, and we're confident we'll get the last one soon. How did you know? The sister asks me in our closing interview. My lawyer said there was no DNA evidence, so how did you know? I see people as they are, and you're one of the good ones. No, I'll never forgive myself, and nobody else will either. I look at her straight in the eye. That's not true, because I do.